Hi, it's Wave, and if you've been watching this for Vlogmas, I've been posting every single video, and I mention about Libby, which is great and all that, but if you want more books, depending whether you have a low variety of books from your public library, or you just want to get more free books that you just want to borrow, Hoopla is another app to consider. Hoopla is similar to the Libby in regards that you only need a library card to access it, but it gives you more features, kind of like bang for your buck. So basically what it offers is you can borrow books, borrow audiobooks, comics as well, even borrow TV shows, some programs, courses like master classes, movies, you can rent them. It can give you so many things, but of course there are limitations, of course. So how this works is that, of course, you need to log into your library card because that's how you sign in. You can also create an account as well right after that. And then from there, it gives you 20 borrows. 10 for the usual borrows, and then 10 borrows for a thing called Flexbooks. So starting with the 10 borrows, you only have access to it for a month. So say for instance, you borrowed 10 books. Once you borrow those 10 books, you cannot borrow any more until the next month, because that's when it will actually refresh and start from new of borrowing 10 more. Same goes with the Flexbooks. Now the difference is, for the Flexbooks, you can only borrow anything that says Flex in it. So in that category, it has a limitation of books. I wouldn't say anything popular, but more so like older books, maybe even classics, I would think. So technically, if you were to borrow 10 books from the normal and then 10 books from the Flex, you can borrow 20 books in total for the month, but normally nobody does that. At least I don't. So when it comes to borrowing the 10 borrows, the normal feature, you can have access to the movies, TV shows, and all that. I will say that if you do that, it will deduct real fast, and if you want to borrow a book that's not part of the Flexbook, but you ran out your borrows, you can't do it until the next month of refill. And another thing is too, there's a lot of TV shows. I noticed like a lot of British shows actually, which is pretty interesting. But let's say that for a first season, there are 24 episodes. If you were to binge through that, you can only get through 10 episodes. And then you have to wait for next month to watch the next 10. And then the following month to watch the remaining 4. That's something to keep in mind. And another thing is, when you're borrowing movies and TV shows, you only get 2 or 3 days to borrow it. If you're borrowing a audiobook or a ebook, that's generally 21 days. And you can't filter to change it to shorting it or not. I'm not sure. You can actually also, like Libby, do the highlights and exporting, and I'll go more into that for the pros and cons. So how I've been using Hoopla was basically using a lot for reading a lot, audiobooks as well, because I noticed that for Libby with my library, some books would show on the Libby app and not on the Hoopla, and vice versa. Like I noticed Dana K. White's book, one of her recent books that she published was on the Hoopla, but it wasn't on the Libby. So I found that odd because both of them are accessed through the library card, but some books would show on one platform and the other. From my experience, I get more indie author books on Hoopla than I do on the Libby with the library card. Not sure that's just mine or that's just regular for everybody else, but that's something to keep in mind. So I do like that. Later on, the Libby did show the book as well, but it wasn't until like months later. So I'm not sure if that's just my library in particular or that's for all the libraries. I'm not quite sure. So let's get into the pros. Hoopla is free, just like Libby, and it has more features in regards to like watching stuff. And oh, that's another thing. You can also borrow music albums as well. Whereas basically Libby is just borrowing ebooks and audiobooks. You only need a library card to access it. So if you don't have a library card but your relative does, use theirs. It's not going to charge you or anything. And I don't think anybody would get mad for somebody wanting to access the library. You can borrow movies and TV shows, even courses. Like I've been recently borrowing, was it by coursework or something like that? That's an actual subscription thing, but my library has access to it. Well, some of the courses. So I've been borrowing episodes for business law because I'm in a business law class and I need to understand it better. And watching an actual lawyer talk about the business law through the episodes just makes more sense. So if you're a college student, definitely check out Hoopla because you may find some courses that can be beneficial. They do update the movies and TV shows, mainly movies, every month. So say that you're in Christmas season, they will show more Christmas movies. If you're in Valentine's season, they'll show you more Valentine's movies. They also have a variety of genres as well for both movies and TV shows. So that's a pretty neat thing, that you're not just catered to like one specific thing, but generally more things. Like I have a lot of British mystery shows and British Regency historical things. So I will get into that later on my own time. Just right now with school, it's not gonna happen. I have to use all my borrows for school so I can watch the courses. Anime is also on there, of course limitations, just like with comic books. And if you're doing research, the courses section or any of the special features that your library offers can be beneficial. Of course, you have to do like binge pass or something. Like mine has like the Hallmark binge pass. I find that cute, but also, hey, it's free. Now let's get into the cons. You can only borrow 10 books per month, and if you use them all up, you'll have to wait for the next refresh. And if you haven't used it up, like say if you only read or borrowed 6 borrows, whatever it is, and you only have 4, that would not transfer to the next month to being 14. It would just be the standard 10. So I wish they kind of like expand a little bit more, but it's free. You can't really do anything about it. So take what you can get. It is limited though, just like with Flexbooks, but also with the library itself. So you get more bang for the Libby than you do with Hoopla, or maybe it's different depending on your library. Like I said, I'm not sure if it's the same thing for every single library, but I'm assuming that if you live in a more progressive area, it's gonna give you more than suburbs. Flexbook borrows are limited, and I only use like a couple of them, but it is there if you want to use it. But don't expect like recent stuff like Shadow and Bone, which is like years old, but more of like the classics or like early 2090s or like 80s books. Waiting for like the next renewal kind of is a big hinder, especially if you want to use the course program, especially if you're a student like I am, and there's like 24, 36 episodes, and you have like 3 classes that have different stuff. It can be a big hindrance. When it comes to highlighting, in the beginning when I was using the app, it was doing fine. Like there's only like 3 color options. Now when I do highlights, it only gives me one, and then it won't let me change it. And also the same thing with annotating. It won't let me annotate like I used to. I have to go to the bookmarks section, I think, and then go from there. And also for annotating, it only gives you a limit to how much you can annotate. Versus Libby, you can do like infinite amount. I'm not sure if that's like a bug in their system, but I just noticed that it was doing good and then it just went downhill for those particular things. So hopefully they can fix that. Oh, another con is that Hoopla is not Kindle supported. I have a Kindle, so none of it will transfer over. But if you have a Kindle Fire Stick, or no, a Kindle Fire Tablet, then you can download the app and read from there. So that's the major con for that. And that's my review for the Hoopla app. If you're a person that likes to read a lot, a college student, and just wants more material, then Hoopla is a great option. Especially, like I said, I'm a college student, so I'm broke. And I actually use Hoopla to watch movies and shows, and they actually do have a good variety at times, but mainly I use it for the courses because I need to understand business law and all that. I'm not a lawyer or anything studying. Definitely if you're a college student, it's more a supplemental material. It's a hit or miss depending what you get, but it's a great option if you're on a budget and you want to have like work and life balance, but also have like a leisure time. Hoopla is free, and all you need is a library card. Overall, definitely give Hoopla a try and let me know down below if you've been enjoying it and how's it been working for you. In the meantime, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!